And joining us now, President-elect Joe Biden's nominee for Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. He is a former intelligence officer in the Naval Reserve, and I guess we can call you Mayor Pete still. That's sort of your name. But a lot of changes. All right. Before we get to what you hope and intend to do in this job, if it gets through, give us a sense of what this nomination means to you.
Well, it's something that I'm so excited about personally as somebody who's eager to work on these issues, but also mindful of what it means historically. I grew up at a time when it would have been really unthinkable for a president to nominate an out individual to a cabinet position. I watched as on the news as people like an appointee for ambassador under President Clinton couldn't even get a vote in the Senate because he was gay. And so I'm also mindful that the path for me has been cleared by a lot of people who came before, and it reminds me that there's a chance maybe to make it a little easier for the next person to come along. So I'm thrilled about that. I'm thrilled about the opportunity, and I'm really thrilled about the team that will be joining. It's an extraordinary team that the president-elect is putting together. It looks like America ready to serve on day one, and I'm just really honored to be invited to be part of this.
And given the conversation we just had, what do you think the challenges will be in the transition and in the first few months of this administration, trying to sort of bring order to whatever we would describe what is happening right now?
Well, we know what we're up against. We have a divided country. We have multiple overlapping national emergencies. And, to put it gently, we don't have the normal dynamics that you would see going on during a transition. Having said that, I'll say that the team has been phenomenal. I've been working with, as all of the proposed nominees have been, with a transition team that is getting us the information that we need to be prepared on day one. And again, you look at the energy, you look at the preparation, you look at the experience of the top team that the president-elect is putting together, and I think America is going to be well served from the first minute of the Biden-Harris administration.
Mayor Buttigieg, it's Willie Geist. It's good to see you this morning. I think anybody who drives around the country or flies around the country can tell you, as you know, having been a mayor in Indiana, that our infrastructure is dated in many places. Bridges, roads, airports are crumbling in some places. So what is your vision of the job? What is your vision of what America can look like in the short term and in the long term? Obviously, if you fly around the country, fly around the world, you see very different infrastructure. When you land at an airport in a European country or an Asian country, they've moved on to a new vision for transportation. So how do you view this job, and how do you view transportation in America?
Well, I view it as a massive opportunity. You're right. This is one of these areas where Americans have been expected to settle for less, and we shouldn't. There's no reason. With the wealth and the capacity and the talent of our country, we should be leading the world when it comes to transportation infrastructure, not catching up. In terms of what it actually means to lead the world, of course, the foundation for any Secretary of Transportation, any Department of Transportation, is safety, and that'll be my first priority. Just never mind wanting it to look and feel nice and smooth. Safety is the fundamental reason why we need to make sure that our bridges and our roads, for example, are in better shape than they are today. And I do think there's a bipartisan awareness of how important that is. Then on that foundation of safety, think about the other goals and values that we can pursue. And the big ones on my mind are climate, equity, and jobs. So when it comes to climate, again, in many ways, that's a safety issue, too. It's certainly an issue about whether we're going to have a safe and prosperous future. And that depends on having cleaner, greener, better ways to get around the country. That ties directly to the question of jobs. Think of the millions of jobs. I mean, first of all, just about every job in America today is either directly or indirectly supported in some way by transportation, by infrastructure. And on the direct side, I see an enormous opportunities as we upgrade our fleets and our roads for that to create jobs in places like here in the industrial Midwest where I come from, which by the way, the first time around 100 years ago, it was really transportation that was building our economy to begin with. And then equity. At this moment of reckoning in our country, And we know that a lot of issues of racial and economic justice were, frankly, driven by misguided transportation policy. Either you had neighborhoods, especially neighborhoods with minoritized groups that didn't always have political power, they're either cut off from opportunity in what are sometimes called transit deserts, for example, to make it harder to get to work, harder to get to the store, harder to get around. Or when transportation dollars did come to those neighborhoods, sometimes it was in the form of a highway or a roadway being plowed right through a neighborhood and cutting it in two. We got a chance to do something about that too. So across all of these areas, safety, climate, jobs, equity, there is such an opportunity. And I think Americans in red and blue and purple communities, urban and rural, see what's at stake and are looking forward to a day, and we'd be really proud of American travel, transportation, infrastructure.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.